the 21st Sunday of Ordinary Time. These past weeks, we were either entertained or annoyed or inspired or depressed by political conventions. And former President Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris laid out their positions, their invitations. Are you with us or against us? Jesus in today's gospel is in a way completing his own platform about who he is. We've been hearing these past weeks the discussion that Jesus is having with the religious officials, Jewish officials, about his being the bread of life. And bread, of course, was a tremendous symbol of God's fidelity in the desert, in the Exodus experience. So he is saying, I am the bread of life. And we've heard it repeated and discussed. In today's gospel, he's saying the same things as we heard in the political conventions. Believe us or leave us. We hear it in Joshua in the first reading, where he gets all the people of Israel lined up in front of God, and Joshua says, are you with us or against us? Do you believe in us or are you going to leave us? And he says, as for me, my family, my part of the tribe, I'm with the God, I will serve the God of our fathers who were saved from the Exodus, by the Exodus experience. And then he says to him, and how about you? Are you going to serve the gods over there, or are you going to serve the God here? So it's a dramatic ending to this sixth chapter, which was really a drama. As I said a couple of weeks ago, the stage was set, the characters were there, and now at the end of the play, he's saying, who's with me and who's not? So the text says that there were his followers saying, no, you're too much. We want the comfort for the familiar, the traditional, the safe. And then he turns to Peter and the disciples. Now remember, there were disciples who left him, followers, those who had been taught by him, those who were asked to take him in to their hearts and their lives. And they said, no, we can't do that. And then the apostles, when Peter speaking for us, he said, no, we can't leave, we believe. You are the Christ, which is a consummation in some ways of the whole Johannine gospel, as we will see in the resurrection narratives at Easter. Thomas says the same thing. Excuse me, after probing the body and his reality, yes, you are the Christ. And that's the ultimate boast of the followers of Jesus. You are the Christ, the Holy One, the longed for. So the play ends. One way of looking at why was it so difficult? Why is it so difficult for people to follow Jesus? Why is it so difficult to believe in the real presence of the Eucharist? We all have problems. Theology is about problems. Spirituality is about problems because we want facts. We want security. We want clarity. And Jesus is offering invitations to mystery. One way of looking at this is, and I believe in the real presence of Jesus in the Eucharist, in the bread and wine. But another way of looking at it is Jesus as word and person, you are hard to swallow. Your teachings are hard to swallow. I can't stomach it. We have those idioms. Jesus did not come as an idea. He came as a person inviting. And many of his teachings are very comforting, but some are really difficult. And maybe listening to the political speakers, they like this, but not that. And they say, well, I don't like any of them. And some people say that. I don't like anything of God or Jesus or church or Eucharist. And we have our reasons. And God reverences those reasons and will always keep coming to us. Whether we believe all of it, it's hard to take it all in. It's challenging to our minds, to our hearts. And that's what faith is. Faith is, within the human context, we are by nature selective. We'll take this part of the political platform, but not that part. Or we can't hold to that, but we like this, we like the person. That's it. It's the person of Jesus. Do you like the person of this candidate or that candidate? Jesus comes as a candidate, but one very interesting thing, especially in the first reading, Joshua says, as for me, we will serve the God who brought us out of Egypt. And everyone else says, we will too. We will serve that God. What Jesus says, will you let me serve you? And that I have come not that you serve God, but that you let God serve you by giving you bread, by giving you encouragement, by giving you grace. With all your arguments and all your ideas and all your difficulties in swallowing Jesus, can you let him serve you patiently and in time? And the sacraments are ways of God serving us. For what purpose? To serve God's people, because God has served us and asks us to serve God by serving God's people. That's hard to swallow too. We receive the Eucharist. We receive Jesus. We receive our dignity. And we receive our mission to serve God's people because God has served us. And that's how we, in a way, serve God, by serving God's people. Can you swallow that in receiving the Eucharist? Can you receive the dignity of being served by God and being a servant of God's people? Can you say amen to that? With Joshua, I say amen.